Flatirons, thanks so much for joining us. My name is Steven, and I oversee the online campus groups. A lot of you have reached out and you've asked how you can serve. Well, here is your opportunity. We have groups launching back up next month, and we're always looking for people to jump in and serve and lead a group. So if God's pulling at your heart right now as I'm saying this, go to the link in the comment section or go to the website and complete an application to lead a group. If you're going through all the reasons in your head right now of why you're unqualified, go ahead and sign up anyways, and I'd love to chat with you about what this looks like. I can assure you that we are all unqualified people just trying to do the best with what God's given us. I can't wait to connect with all of you, and I hope you benefit from what Jim has to share with us in week 2 of our series, Pieces.
What's up, Flatirons? Hey, if you're joining us online, warm welcome. I invite you to stand and sing with us. Come on, every voice, you sing. People come together. Strangers, neighbors, our blood is one. Children of generations, with every nation of kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled, and hold your head up high. Don't fear no evil, and fix your eyes on this one truth: God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong, and remember where our help comes from. Sing, Hey, we serve a good God, and He calls His children very good. So we can stand here confidently and sing this out together. We sing Swing Wide, come on. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus, yes it is. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Come on, every voice, swing wide. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Yes. Our salvation is in His blood. And Jesus, light of heaven, friend forever, His kingdom come. I surrender all. Come on, we sing. I surrender all. It's all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender. I surrender all. I surrender all. It's all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender.
In the darkness, we were waiting without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word from the throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt. till that stone was moved for good. For the Lamb had conquered death, and the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe for the souls of all who'd come to the Father are restored. And the church of Christ was born, then the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of old shall not kneel, shall not fade. By His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise forever to the King of Kings.
Good morning, Flatirons. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, for joining us online. We're so glad you're here. We'd love if you just take a moment, greet someone around you, give someone a high five on this Super Bowl Sunday.
Good morning, Flatirons. Good to see you. What's going on? You guys been all right? I want to welcome everybody online as well. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. Guys, it's a big day. It's a big day today. It's Groundhog Day, right? I heard that winter's over just in time for the snowstorm tomorrow, so that's great. But I'm actually really happy about that. If you're watching from places like Texas or something and you're planning on coming up here and skiing in your jeans soon, I want to let you know that winter's over. I'm sorry. It's done. It's over. Skiing's closed for the season. But truthfully, here's the deal. Today, Super Bowl Sunday, Groundhog Day, the Patriots should have made the Super Bowl this year because it would have been perfect. I know. Because every single year, they somehow are there, and the same thing happens over and over and over again. But we got to break that curse this year. And I'm telling you guys, I see some Chiefs gear out there. I see some Niners gear, which is nice over here. I've given the Chiefs a hard time the last couple of weeks, and I got a couple of emails. One guy gave me an email. The subject line said, "Stop talking about sports," in all caps. So I'm going to take a couple minutes to talk about some sports here for you guys. So I want you guys to know, Chiefs fans, like I've made fun of Kansas City. I think it's in Missouri. It might be in Kansas. I'm not sure. I've made fun of and told you, like, I don't really make fun. It's just stating a fact. Like, moving out of there was a great choice. I'm glad you're here. But I will tell you this. I have full confidence today that the Chiefs are going to be our next Super Bowl winner. And I'm sorry, 49ers fans. It's my fault. It's my fault. I'm almost 42 years old. And if you're looking at me going, man, you don't look a day over 40, I get it. But I'm saying I have never a single time cheered for a team that won the Super Bowl. And so 49ers fans, help me break the curse today. Chiefs fans, congratulations. You're champions. So, yeah. All right. Hey, I got just one thing I want to talk about this morning. It's a really important thing. A couple years ago, we relaunched small groups in this church in a way that we'd never done before. And at this campus here in Lafayette, and there's a bunch of groups online as well, but here physically in Lafayette, it's something like 60% of our adults that are in a group, which is incredible. We have over 500 small groups in the Lafayette campus right now, which I love. So they've been on a little bit of a break, and we're getting ready to launch brand new groups here again in a couple of weeks. So some of you, you'll join a group for the first time. I'm in a couple groups. I get to lead one of them, and I love my groups. They've changed my life for real. But coming up to that, what we need both here and online is people to lead those groups. And so I'm making a plea. So last week we had this big event where we talked about where you can lead, where you can serve and volunteer. If you missed that, you can still go to our website, flatirons.com/Lafayette, and find places to serve in this church. If you missed last weekend, I would love for you to jump online and watch, because every single service, we had the room stand up in these matching shirts. And it's over half the room every time of people who serve here. It takes that many people to make it go every single weekend. But in the meantime, one specific place that I'm telling you we definitely need help is that if you can't, a weekend's out of the question, or maybe you've done that and it hasn't worked out well, or whatever that might be, leading a group in your home or in a third place, like a coffee shop or something, is a huge opportunity and something that we really, really need. And so we're about to watch a video about a couple that stepped up and did that. This is a couple that I know. I met them about a year ago, or a little bit less than a year ago, under some circumstances that I wish I could change, but I wouldn't change meeting them, because they're both incredible people. They're great leaders, they're great friends, and they really just love people around them. So we're gonna watch their video and their story here in a second, but here's what I wanna challenge you with. Every single one of us, no matter how gifted or ungifted you think you are, no matter what kind of home you think that you'd have, that's like not big enough or too big or whatever you think it might be, you have something in you. And maybe this won't be the season, or maybe it's not now, but I just wanna challenge you for the future even, that leading a group will change your life. So we're gonna watch that here in a second, but we do have one more song. If you saw the seizure warning ahead of time, it's there for a reason. There's a lot of flashing lights. If you have that, you can run now if that's something that interferes with your life. But I also want to tell you this, Tommy's about to dance right about here, right? And so I also want to warn you, don't look directly at Tommy, because the tractor beam will pull you in. You may not come back from that. So warning, they should put that up at the beginning of the service as well, but they didn't do that. So watch this video. My friends, the Cicchettis, amazing people, and then let's have a fun day.
I'm Corey Cicchetti.
I'm Jillian Cicchetti, and we have led a group at Flatirons for the last year and a half.
We've been married for 15 years, and we're from Colorado, and we have 2 little girls, Sophia and Sydney. Showing up is 3/4 of the battle, right? And so if I'm ever at a loss for what to do next, I'll just ask a question, and someone else will take it from there, and the group just talks. And
The church provides you with questions, so you can literally just read the questions off the page. So we made it really simple for ourselves. We don't serve food. Like, people can bring food if they want to. Sometimes I'll put some leftover cookies out, but I don't serve food. And so I don't have to feel like I'm hosting a big event. My house is not a mess at the end, because literally everybody's coming in, spending an hour really talking with each other, praying with each other, learning about God, and leaving. And it's lovely, actually. It's something we look forward to every single week, and it's not super stressful for us. And then Corey and I had a very tough year this last year. We just went through something that we never thought we would face, and we had all these, literally it happened 10 months after our small group started, and we were far enough along with these people that we just had this instant group of human beings who showed up for us in a very meaningful way. And I feel like our small group was a way that God prepared us to go through this hard part of our life. I really, truly believe that He created this community for us to help us get through this last year.
it's impossible to miss God's hand in this.
Huge.
But everyone lives within 15 minutes walk of us.
Yeah, and it's been interesting because we have like a larger group of friends within this community, and they're not all in the group. And every once in a while, somebody will be like, what's that thing that you guys do on Friday night? You know, like, oh, you want to come? So I think it sort of like piques people's interest as well.
We wanted to sort of make a big church small. And then because of the small group, we had this group of a ton of friends who were really good friends. And so had we not led it, had been too scared, that wouldn't have happened.
Take me far away from here. There is no better loss than to lose myself in you. In a parachute to glide, I am captive in your sky. Take control of the atmosphere. Take control of the atmosphere. There's a reason I should breathe unless you're in the air.
I'm tired. Oh my goodness. So all of our campuses are joined together. Everybody say hi to our brothers in Lyman. Say hi. All right, but I don't know what the other bands just did it there, but if they did what Tommy just did, we just need to go home. They wanted me to do that. I went, no, let Tommy. We'll let Tommy do that. But hey, at all of our campuses right here, just give it up for the band. That was awesome, right? So when we pick songs like that, there's a reason. There's a phrase in there, has two words that you put together that you usually don't put together, and that's the word beautiful and surrender, right? Because surrender is usually not, we don't think of it as a beautiful thing. Just hold on to that thought, and we're gonna come back to it, all right? So, okay, last week, Ben kicked off this series that we're calling Pieces, and we're looking at the idea or that kind of concept, or really we're asking a question that goes like this, like, if you were to break your arm or break your leg, what would you do? And you would know, I know I would go here, and I know what they would do. If your car breaks down, you would know like where to go and what to do. Pretty much everything that you have going on in your life, if it breaks down or it stops working, if you're willing to do a little bit of research, there's a place you can go or a procedure that has a good shot at putting the broken pieces of that thing back together again, right? Talked about that last week. Here's the question we're looking at in the rest of the series though is, what do you do when your life breaks? When your life falls into pieces, when your heart gets broken, when your soul and your emotions get all screwed up, when your mind gets locked up, or when you keep trying to do the right thing, but it always comes out wrong and makes things worse. What are we supposed to do? Because you really can't Google that, right? You can't Google a broken life. Help, right? Or you can't, Siri, what should I do? I spend my whole time trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong and what's a lie and what is true, and I can't make a decision, or at least a good one. Can't go to the doctor for that stuff. I mean, you can't go to the doctor and go, okay, yeah, doc, so here's what's going on. So I want to do the right thing, but every time I try to do the right thing, I do the wrong thing, it makes it worse. Because here's what would happen if you were to do that, and we've had a lot of these conversations in our life, and they're not helpful. Somebody will look at you for a while and then finally say something like, well, maybe it's just, I don't know, try harder, which is not helpful, right? Or how about this? It's not that bad, or get over it. Or here's the big one, right? Dude, just walk it off. Right, we've all been told that, or we've actually said that before. The truth is, and what we looked at last week, there's some stuff in life you can't walk it off, right? And the more you try, you will actually make it worse. So what are we going to do? Because we're all going to have to face that sometime in our life. So if you're new to Flatirons, and we have a lot of new people tuning in and showing up at our campuses every week, I want to tell you a couple things that we don't do around what I just talked about. A couple things. First of all, whenever you come in to Flatirons, no one's gonna stand up here and say, well, you're a bad person and God's mad at you, which is why your life is broken in that part. But if you were a better person, it wouldn't break. We don't ever do that. Here's what we believe, and you may not believe that, and that's all right, but here's what we believe around here. We're just all doing the best we can, right? We are trying to make sense out of a really lost and broken world, and sometimes we get it right, and sometimes we get it wrong. And that's not giving ourselves a pass to keep on screwing up. We're just doing the best we can. That's just reality. And that's kind of the philosophy around here. We also, we're not that church that hands out empty, it doesn't work anyway, self-help advice. You're never gonna hear someone like me stand up here and go, you just keep trying, try harder, just believe in yourself, and eventually you'll figure it all out and you'll become the best version of you ever. We don't do that here. I mean, maybe you will, but here's what I found in the most important parts of my life, the parts that I don't wanna risk, maybe I'll figure it out, or maybe I'll accidentally stumble onto something better. We want to do something else around here. This is what we do, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you come back, this is what you're gonna find. We simply ask Jesus if he has anything to say or advise around this area of my life, because we believe that if he is who he says he is and can do what he claims to be able to do, he might have, something to say or offer around this part of my life that's broken that might be, write this down, helpful. I've been to a lot of churches and they're right, it just doesn't help, right? So today and the rest of the series, let's see if Jesus does that. So a little bit of catch up from last week, some big ideas or some truths that we're working off of. So we're talking about pieces, our life's broken in pieces. So the key word here we're gonna be looking at is whole. Now, time out here, okay? So I'm gonna talk probably faster than I've ever talked before. Had a lot of caffeine today, I'm buzzing, all right? So I'm gonna go really, really, really fast, and you're gonna go, oh, I wanna remember that, but you're not gonna remember that. So the way we take notes around here is we get our phones out and just take a picture of the screen. And some of you are gonna say, I'll remember it, but you're not, and then you're gonna have to come back next hour, all right? So my wife actually told me, it's too much, Jim, cut it into 2 weeks. I went, nope, I can do it. Boom, here we go, right? So whole means this, right? Whole means oneness or lacking nothing, complete, not broken apart, okay? That's a whole thing is those words right there. It's the same word that if you're a math person, all right? It's the same word that we get the word integer from, right? A whole number as opposed to a fraction. And then integer, if you just go down the road a little bit further, it can also be translated, it's where we get the word integrity, meaning all parts are connected and truly aligned. The inside and the outside match. And so the opposite word for whole would be hypocrisy. Right? Makes sense, right? Split, broken, not in agreement, not the same on the inside as the outside. And then the biblical word for whole, the Hebrew word is shalom, which can also be translated peace. Now, go with me on this. I think that all of us would agree that if any part of our life could be described with two sets of words, one set being like this, my life is peace and complete and lacking nothing, that would be better than a life that you say, well, my life is broken or split or missing some parts. This just seems like it would be better, all right? Now, the other thing though, and this is what, especially if you're new to church or reading the Bible, right? So the people in the Bible, whenever they heard that God had commanded them to do something, they just assumed that the only reason God would command anybody to do something or not do something is that he was in possession of some information that they may or may not currently have, all right? The reason God's doing that, all right? But how about this? The motivation for all of God's commands, the 10 commandments and all the rest of them, the motivation for all of God's commands was love. If he didn't love us, why does he care to even get involved in our life, right? So the motivation that God would even say, do this or don't do that is because he loves us. And the reason that he's given us commands is this, the end result of that command was for our own good. Why else would he tell us to do it? He loves us, he wants what's good for us, and so that's the end result. Whether or not they could see it or understand it in the moment, and that by definition is faith. I don't understand God totally. I don't know what's going on here. I just think he knows more than I do, and I'm gonna go with him. And that's called faith. So here's where we left off last week, all right? So a man walks up to Jesus and asks him, okay, cut to the chase, Jesus, what's the most important command to come from God that would lead him and then us to experiencing the best life possible? I don't want to hear the whole Bible, just boil it down. What would that command be? I want a good life. What's the most important thing? And Jesus doesn't miss a beat on this, all right? Because you're asking about the best life possible. The best life possible is the number one thing Jesus taught about. Every time he would stand up in front of a crowd, like I'm standing up in front of right now, and he would open his mouth, he was, I want to talk about this life that's possible. He called it living your life in this thing called the kingdom of God. the kingdom of God. You can live your life in the kingdom of God, and that's churchy, so let me kind of put it in gym language. It goes like this. No matter who you are or what you've done or what's been done to you, no matter what you've been told in the past, no matter what's currently going on or past or future goes on in your life, be that something really, really good or something really, really broken and painful, here's the kingdom of God. It means this. It is possible to live every day of your life with God as your friend right here, right now, not just after your funeral and you go to someplace called heaven. You can live with him right now, which again, if we were asked which one sounds better, living your life on your own, trying to figure stuff out and making it up as you go, hoping you don't break stuff and people along the way, that's one way, or living your life so close to God that like you're friends and you know each other so well that you get inside of God's head and God gets inside of your head and you start thinking alike. That might be better. It sounds like it might be better. But here's your third option. If you don't want to go with God, if it doesn't make sense, then just keep on doing what you're doing, right? So those are kind of the mindsets you're gonna have for the rest of the day. Okay, so a man walks up to Jesus and he asks him this, all right? What's the most important commandment that God has given to us that leads to the best possible kind of life? And Jesus looks right back at him and he quotes probably the most famous verses in the entire Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. It's some verses that every Jewish person in Jesus' day, going all the way thousands of years back to Moses, who gave them the command from God. And then a lot of the Jewish people I know right now, they do the same thing for the last several thousand years. They start their day saying these verses out loud, and before they go to bed, they say these verses out loud. It's very, very famous. It's called the Shema. All right, which Shema just means listen, all right? And it goes like this. So you ask a question. The most important commandment, answer Jesus, is this. Hear, O Israel, Shema Israel, all right? The Lord our God, the Lord is one. Here it is. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, and this is a horrible translation because it misses what the original translation is. The second is this, really translates, the second is connected to the first. It's like unto it. You can't have this one without that one. You can't have that one without this one. It's a continuation of love God, and here's the other part of it. The second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. It's one commandment. Love God with everything and love your neighbor as yourself. So, kind of if you're going to sleep here. All right, so Jesus, how do I experience the best life ever? Answer, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Question, how's that help? How could that lead to my life becoming better, let alone the best life ever? Answer, because God is whole and he's not broken. This is what Ben taught about last week, all right? He's complete. God's not missing anything. So bring him all the broken pieces of your life, and he promises that he can and will take what is broken and make it whole, make it better, make something possible in your life that without him is impossible. And that leads to a better life. Now, I'm gonna be really, really honest with you because I think I know what a lot of us are thinking right now. Doesn't that sound nice? And really, I mean, you're in church, all right? Would you come to a church and expect anybody like me to say anything different? Oh, you wanna have a good life? Just give it all to Jesus, right? Just give it all to Jesus and, give him all. We just saying, I surrender all and I wanna follow Jesus, all right? So what if I do that? My life will be ice cream and unicorns. What does it even mean? I've been in the church all my life and I've heard all these platitudes like give him your all, surrender everything, right? What does it mean? And even if I know what it means, how could that lead to something better? I'm just calling out what a lot of us think about, okay? So here's what I wanna do for the rest of our time. I just wanna look at how real life works in the real world. And then I wanna take that and I wanna lay it beside what Jesus says might make it better. And then you go with whatever deal you want, all right? So again, a little more context. All right, so while you read and hear what Jesus just said, while he may use biblical words or ancient words in his terminology, I think that the words that we find here align with what a lot of us think about life, even though we never thought of it like that or use those kind of words, all right? So let me give an example, all right? So a couple weeks ago, and you can get back online and watch this if you want, but I used the metaphor. I was on sabbatical and I built this big rock wall, all right? Remember Anybody remember that? Just not. Thank you. It makes me feel better. All right, so I use the metaphor of building this stone wall. And the metaphor goes like this. It's one wall, but it's very, very complex, and it's made up of thousands of different pieces. And each one of the pieces of the rock wall has to be connected and touching all the other pieces, supporting and being supported by one another. But if one stone breaks or one stone is missing, then that whole section of the wall is at risk of breaking or collapsing. You remember that? Okay. And then I said, that's kind of like your life. Right? Your life's the same thing. You have one life, but it's very, very complex, and it's made up of many, many, many different pieces and parts, which if they're all doing what they need to do and touching one another and supporting one another, then your life is complete and whole. But if not, right? If something's missing or something breaks or whatever, you look at that and go, my life is broken, right? I feel like something's missing in my life. And then you would go with this, I don't have any peace because my life is broken. And Jesus, here's the thing is, right, that's just real life. Jesus would agree with you, and he would say, let me kind of organize your thoughts, all right? He would take all the many complex pieces of your life, and he would put them all into one of 4 different categories or quadrants. He would say, all parts of your life fit in one of these. You have your heart, right? You have your soul, you have your mind, and you have your strength. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have done, and I'm not gonna do it right now, but I have done an extensive word study on the Hebrew translation and concepts of each one of these words. And I'm not gonna say it out loud because I know I've got people smarter than me that will pick it apart, and say, well, your exegesis on the etymology of these words is way off. Shut up. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the most famous Hebrew verses in the Bible, and I'm gonna just dumb them down to gym language. Do you remember a few years ago, all those books, those yellow books came out, Something for Dummies? Remember? I have a library of them. All right? And it'd be like gardening for dummies or beekeeping for dummies or whatever, but beekeeping. Anyway, so today is Shema for dummies, Bible for dummies. And here's the thing is I don't think it's dumb. I think I'm close, but you decide for yourself, all right? So here we go, Hebrew word study. Hey. All right, so whenever you see the word heart in the Bible, don't think this thing in the middle of your chest pumping blood. Okay? So in ancient cultures, whenever anybody was referencing a heart, they were referring to that part of you that's like runs your life, that the part of you that makes your choices. It's your will, it's your willpower. It includes what you want to happen in your life. That's you, what you determine to do. So when you read the word heart, think this, okay? The part of me that calls the shots for my life. Heart runs the show. All right? It determines what will happen next, and this is really important, and what could be. Now let's write down could be on your program or something like that. What will happen next and what could be for me and those I'm connected to. So when you read love God with all your heart, it means this, as you go about making all your choices and decisions for your life, if you love God with all that, make sure that what God says is right, true, and will lead to your own good aligns with what you want to do. All right? Now I'm gonna take it all the way down to one phrase, and the phrase goes like this. Just think of your heart as your wanter, right? My heart is my wanter. We talked about this a few months ago. I got a broken wanter. We're gonna get to that in a minute, okay? So my heart is my wanter. Make sure that what God wants and what you want are the same thing, which is easier said than done, right? Because there are several other parts of your life advising your heart about what it should or shouldn't want. What do you mean? Like your soul. So if you read through the Bible or literature or arts or whatever, like soul has a lot of different meanings depending on what context it's in. Some people use soul and spirit kind of interchangeably, but in this context right here, what Jesus is referring to is your soul is like your emotions, it's your desires, it's your feelings, it's your passions. Your soul is your imagination, your creativity. It's what makes you uniquely you. It's what attracts you to another person, right? Because they're a living soul as well. And it's just there's a spiritual connection. And you've felt this before. Have you ever been like sitting in traffic, like, and then you feel like, and you look over and somebody's staring at you? You just know, it's like, what, dude, what? Right? It's because they're a living soul. I can't prove this, but it's just like, hey, my soul recognizes there's another one nearby. Now, you don't have to believe that, but I'm right. So anyway, but here's the other part, right? You can't cut a person open and go, there it is, soul, got it, all right? But when asked, we say things like this, I don't know, I just feel it in my soul. We've all said and felt that, right? And based on what you feel in your soul, the soul advises the heart, here's what you ought to go do, because I'm telling you, it will feel the best. So you might want to do it this way. So if your heart's your wanter, your soul is your feeler, right? There's 2 more coming, all right? Next, you have your mind, and your mind is your thinker. It's not that hard, all right? I mean, so my mind is my thinker. And we all know you don't think with your heart, you think with your brain, right? It's firing synapses and all that kind of stuff, right? But we say stuff all the time. I just know in my heart because it's part of who you are. We call it all heart, but we're talking about my mind. And when you think about stuff, it may or may not be logical, right? But thinking, when you think about my mind, it can be kind of reduced down to one question, all right? What do you believe is true? What do you think, like you're looking at trying to analyze this situation, what do you think is true? And then based on what you think is true, your mind will advise like master control, which is the heart, what choice or decision they ought to make for the best possible logical outcome. Follow me? So you got your heart, you got your soul, you got your mind, and then you got strength. And strength is really easy. Strength just gets stuff done. Strength got you out of bed today. Strength and get you to work and school tomorrow. Your strength is your doer, right? Your strength is your doer. And based on the feelings and the thoughts have told the heart, the doer takes its orders from the heart and brings whatever you're thinking about and feeling into the external world. It's just inside, but your doer gets stuff done out there based on what the heart told it to do. And now what Jesus is saying is that when all 4 parts of your life, of who you are, your heart, your wanter, your soul, your feeler, your mind, your thinker, and your strength, your doer, when all those things come together and work together as one, as in whole, and even better yet, they act in one in agreement with what God feels, thinks, and would do, Jesus goes, that's the best life ever. That's the best possible life a person could have. You would look at a life like that and go, that's peace, that's complete. So, picture time, all right? The key to a good life is that all the pieces of your life come together and act as one in agreement with God. And the result is the best life possible, defined with words like peace and missing nothing and whole and complete. Now, if that's true, that means the opposite is also true. What do you mean? So what happens if you have a broken wanter? What happens when you have a broken soul? What happens when you have, I can't think straight, my mind just feels broken, locked up. What happens when your strength is just gone? You have a broken doer. What's that mean? So I'm just gonna say a few things and you're gonna go, oh yeah, absolutely. Think about it. Think about a time in your life when you looked at your life or your heart and went, it's good. My life is whole. My heart is full. Remember that time? Here's what was going on. When you looked at the what could be in front of you and it aligned with what you wanted it to be and what you thought was true and what you thought God wants. It's all the same. We all want the same thing and your heart was full. Now, I want you to remember the time your heart got broken. What was going on? And in those terms, here's what I would say. When your heart couldn't have or it loses the what could be that it wanted and hoped for, right? Your heart was broken when the thing or the person that you hoped or wanted there to be a really good what could be left, right? Got taken from you, died. Right, whatever that is. And that could be the person you love the most in the world, that you had a what could be all planned, and it's not gonna happen. It could be who you're married to, who you're dating, it could be your kid, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be a dream, it could be your health, and now you're left facing a what could be that you don't want, but you have it, and it broke your heart. Am I close? And now you're faced with what am I gonna do now? And then by that I mean your heart, your decision maker, here's what you're gonna do. Your wanter will listen to all of its advisors about what am I gonna do now that my what could be is gone. And those 3 advisors are gonna be, how do I feel about stuff? What do I believe is true? And here's the third one, what's God say? What's God say that will lead to a better life? And it's great, like I said before, if all 3 of those agree. The problem is, and this is where life gets all jacked up, is when they don't agree, and then you and your heart have to decide, who am I gonna listen to? And what am I gonna do with the rest of my life? I gotta choose who I'm gonna listen to, right? And then, depending on who you listen to, you're gonna tell your doer to go do that. So let me explain, all right? What if at some point in your life, and I think I'm gonna cover most of us, all right? What if at some point in your life, your soul got broken, your feeler got broken, right? And now in order to feel happy or safe or joy or whatever, you've convinced yourself that you have to feel a certain way all the time, whatever it takes. And so you do whatever it takes to feel a certain way all the time. Or how about this? You got hurt or broken, all right? And in order to protect yourself so you never feel something as horrible as you felt in your past, you shut down an entire segment of feeling. So your soul tells your heart, here's what you ought to do. And now here's the room, all right? You're living your life addicted to something or someone because you have to have it. And if you don't have it, you will just die. Or you live your life all armored up and isolated and alone so that nothing or no one can hurt you like that again. You have a broken soul. Does that describe anybody? Or how about this? What if at some point in your life, your mind got broken? And here's what I mean by that. There was a time when you were counting, you leaned your whole life against something being true. And then you found out it's not true at all. And then you got hurt and you got burnt. And the logical conclusion is, I'm wrong and wrong people are stupid. And nobody wants to feel stupid. So now you live your whole life analyzing, overanalyzing everything so that you don't make a wrong decision, which is why you can't choose anything. Dinner, where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know, right? Or how about this? You spend most of your life trying to manipulate everybody in your life to think like you and agree with you, because if they don't agree with you or think like you, that might mean that you're wrong, and wrong people are stupid and they get hurt. Is that anybody else's operating system? Or how about you want to get it even more overwhelmingly confusing? Depending on what your soul and your feelings and your mind and your beliefs have told your doer, your body to do in the past, your own physical body has turned on you. Your physical body's now sending messages up the chain of command. Well, what's that mean? It means this, because I don't know what's true anymore, and I don't know how to feel. My feelings seem to run my life. Now I'm codependent and I'm addicted to some feeling. So I tell my doer, go do whatever you have to do to get more of that. And so now you're medicating through all kinds of stuff, sex or substance, and now the physical body has taken on a life of its own, and it runs your heart, it runs your choices, it runs your life. At least that's how it feels. Anybody? But let's be honest, okay? I don't buy into victim mentality, all right? I don't believe that your body has the right to run your life. Here's what I mean by that. Your fist didn't make a decision to punch the person that you love. Your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kid, your friend. Well, then how did that fist hit him, all right? Your heart gave a command based on how the broken soul felt and what the broken mind said was true, and then you went and did it. How about this? Your credit card didn't decide to put you in overwhelming debt. It can't. It's just there in your wallet. No, well, how did I get in debt? Your broken soul told you this is what you need to feel okay. And then your broken mind told you that it was, in this case anyway, it was okay. It's even smart because the truth is you deserve it. And your heart told your doer, go buy it. And then you did it. And now your mind has changed on you. And now your mind every day says, how could you be so stupid? And your soul feels shame and fear because you're buried in debt and you don't know what to do. That's a big chunk of my adult life. Let's get really, really into this, all right? Your fingers didn't decide to text or get on that website, and not to be graphic, your genitals didn't get in a truck and go to the hotel to have an affair on their own. So many jokes. Well, then how did I get there? Your heart decided to tell them what to do, and based on what your broken soul advice would feel really good right now, and what your broken mind calculated in the whole risk-reward payoff, what it would be, told your heart, this is a good decision, it's wise, it was smart, it's worth it. And then you took all that, and then you got in the truck and went. Now again, I'm gonna be honest with you. Everything I just said makes sense, even if you don't believe in God. It's just life. You can call it psychology, just the way we behave, and I would agree with you. You can call it, just biology, it's what our bodies do, and I would agree with you again. You can call it sociology. I love sociology, it's my double major in college, all right? It's the way people interact with one another, that's okay. You know why it's okay? Because I believe God created all that. I believe he created all of us to have all those parts in us, all right? But here's what Jesus says, it's more than psychology and biology and sociology. What if the key to all parts of your life working together, in a better whole life, is that all parts of your life, your heart wanter, your soul feeler, your mind thinker, and your strength doer, what if they were to all agree with what God wants and God feels and what God says is true and results in what God wants done in your life? See, go with me on just a second, all right? Hypothetically, if that's all you can do. If there's a God and he's good and he wants good for you, ask yourself this, because you're smart people, right? Wouldn't it make sense to at least do a little investigating about what God really does want? Throw out all your church stuff, because there's some jacked up stuff out there, right? What if you investigated? What does God really feel about you? What does God really say is true and possible about your life? And again, this just feels logical. And if something is broken, especially when you have an aha moment that says, I've been running my life on a lie, right? Maybe it's worth investigating. I keep running my life on a feeling, and it's making my life worse rather than better. Wouldn't it be worth investigating? Because that's what we do, just to see, is it possible that I can have a better life? Honestly, that's all we do here at Flatirons, all right? We take what we currently believe, all right? About God, about marriage, about sex, about identity, about all the important parts of our life. This is what I believe, and there's a reason you believe this. This is what life has handed you. I'm getting to know Jesus a little bit better, and I want to know what he thinks and what he believes and what he wants, and then I'm taking those two deals and putting them on the table, and he says this leads to a better whole life. I'm going to rethink everything, and I'm going to go with the better deal on the table. That's what we do here. So I'm going to wrap this up. I want you to look at your own heart right now. We'll get to the other ones in the next few weeks. And let me just tell you this, okay? I'm gonna pray in a minute, we're gonna sing a great song, and then you're gonna go get in your car truck. You know what you're not gonna have on a conversation on the way home? Jim told us to do this or that. I'm not gonna tell you to do anything. All I wanna do is ask you some questions, all right? And they're really, really hard questions. As a matter of fact, they're worth writing down or taking a picture, all right? So here's a question that very few of us have ever asked. What is it that you really want for yourself? What do you want for your life? You're so busy, I've never even stopped to think about that. What do you want for your life? Just, complete the sentence. I want to be what? I want to have what? I want to know that I am what? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself that? I would say that however you would answer those questions, you probably want to be and have and know something really good and something really, really important. Here's a follow-up question to that. Do you think that what you want to be or have or know, you might not know a lot about God, but what you know about God, do you think that that would line up with what God would want you to be, have, or know? It's worth at least just kicking around. Let's look down at your soul, at your feeler, all right? If you had what you wanted, if you had what your heart says, I want that, here's a question. How would that make you feel? Because we sit there going, I just want this, I want this. Well, if you got it, how would it make you feel? And let me push that a little bit further. If you had what you wanted, what would you really have for yourself that you don't have right in this moment? If I had that, then I would have this. So how about this? What do you feel would be true about you if you had that, what you wanted, that's not true right now? You follow me? So let's look at your mind. This is a good one, right? What message? And I put truth up here, but I don't know if it's true or not. But you're running your life as if it's true. So whether it's really true or not, what message is telling you that you can't have that? We have tapes playing in our head, don't we? You can't have that. She might, but you can't. You don't deserve it. You blew it. You don't get another chance. Now go with me on this. If God is good and he wants good for you, do you think or believe that God thinks that message that's keeping you from what's good in your life is true? And this is where I'm gonna land the plane with this one. Wouldn't you agree that if you were to look back over your life, past life and even current life right now, and you were to go, my biggest regret, and we're all thinking of it right now, right? Don't you wish God gave us a magic rewind button? We go, could I have that? My 20s back, or could I have that back? Could I have that relationship? Could I have that night back? Could I have that conversation back? If I could get a do-over in any part of my life, that's my biggest regret. Don't you agree with me that your biggest regret could be traced back to, and this just feels like my job description sometimes, My heart felt something that wasn't real, believed something that wasn't true, and so I did something that didn't help. Me too. So my question is, what's the solution? And see, this is a huge theme, number one theme that came out of Jesus' mouth. And you know, again, growing up as a kid in church, nobody ever told me this, but man, if somebody was sort of told this, I think my life would have been different. But Jesus would walk up to people all the time and he would say things like this: hey buddy, you did the best you could. I understand, it makes sense why you would do that or feel that or whatever. They're like, okay, but now, get up off the mat. I'm not holding you down. There's no condemnation coming from me. I'm here and I'm willing to show you what's really true and what really will work. And I'm not gonna tell you what you ought to do or should do. I'm just saying, get up and walk with me. I'll walk with you towards a better life. And so then he would say, and the number one word that came out of Jesus' mouth when he started any talk was this: would you just consider repenting, which is a Bible word for this? Would you rethink how you think about all the different parts of your life so that maybe they could move from broken and untrue to whole and peaceful? Doesn't that just sound better? And so here's what Jim told you to do. If you come back next week, what we're gonna unpack is, what is it that tends to break our souls and break our emotions? And please hear this: the reason you feel the way you feel, the reason you're angry, the reason you're sad, the reason you're overwhelmed, the reason whatever you're feeling right now, there's a good reason for it. It makes sense. It's just a sucky way to live. And maybe there's a better way. I'm done. Let's stand up, all right? I'm gonna pray and we're gonna sing a song. Here's the cool thing about, over sabbatical, I had a playlist of songs I listened to every day for 6 months. And when they told me the song we're gonna end this service with, I said, that's on my playlist. I didn't tell them. But the name of this song is Wholehearted. And it's all about taking the broken pieces of your life and then picking them up and setting me free and giving me a new identity. Does anybody else need that? Because I do desperately. So I'm gonna pray. We're gonna sing a song, and you go home and wrestle through those questions. So God, I'm gonna pray the most famous prayer in the Bible. Shema, Flatirons. Hear, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. And if you want a better, whole, peaceful life, a shalom kind of life, then the key is, God, is that we love you with all of our heart and with all of our mind, with all of our soul, with all of our strength. And then we have all these other messages coming in our heads saying it's not possible for people like me. It's too late for people like me, maybe for other people. And then you look at us and say, there's no condemnation coming from me. There is grace, overwhelming grace bigger than your biggest mistake. And then you pick us back up and you link arms with us, you yoke up with us. And so let's keep going. Some of us love you with a little bit of our heart. Some of us love you with a lot. But what would our life look like if we just said, it's all yours, all yours? And even if we don't know what that means, that just sounds like a better direction than we're currently going. And so God, we're gonna come back in here week after week. And we're gonna lay what you say is true and better beside what is currently going on in our life. And my prayer is that we choose you. And I pray all of this in the wonderful name of your son, Jesus. Amen.
Hold me now in the hands that created the heavens. Find me now where the grace runs as deep as your scars. You pulled me from the clay. You set me on a rock. Called me by your name. It made my heart whole again. Lifted up, and my knees know it's all for your glory, that I might stand with more reasons to sing than to fear. You pulled me from the clay, you set me on a rock, called me by your name, and made my heart whole again.
hi and surrender. I need you now. I don't know about you, but that word surrender, it's really hard for me to get my head around sometimes, especially when life is really hard, because I wanna control what's going on. I wanna protect myself from the things that could come and hurt me. And surrender flies in the face of that, because it's us saying, God, I trust you. I believe that you want what's best for me. And so I hand those things over to you. I hand over my hurt. I hand over my pain. I hand over my sadness, my anxiety, and I give that to you. So let's practice that surrender as we sing these words together. We invite you to sing with us. Come on.
So here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Listen again. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. We believe. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. We surrender to you. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you love my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. Healed and forgiven. Look where my chains are now. Death has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds that ground. And your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now.
All right, great morning together. We're so glad you spent your time with us. As a quick reminder, if you're interested in getting involved with leading a group or being a part of that, you can find some group leaders at the wall in the lobby. There's prayer team up here at the front of the stage if you want to pray with somebody. We love you all. Have an awesome day today. We'll see you next time.